You can't say that. With your host, Amanda Carey, special guest, Lenny Van Horn, Brad Chad Porter, Ben Flint, and Jenny Godwin.
Hi, my name is Amanda Carey, and I'd like to welcome you to the first episode of You Can't Say That, which means that we're probably going to say it. Tonight, we're going to be talking about sexism. Sexism is basically that kind of issue that's like herpes. It just doesn't seem to go away. So today, we've brought in a couple of different comedians from the Oklahoma community to discuss the issue. And of course, like a bunch of comedians, we're probably going to not take it that seriously. Now, as appropriate of any topic that deals with women, we brought a panel of mostly men. So, let's go ahead and get our introductions out of the way. Let's start over here with Ben Flint. This is Ben Flint, the only guy I know who actually has a Flintstones name. We have Josh Lathe.
It's pronounced Lathy.
Sorry.
It's okay.
We have Brad Chad Porter. We have Lenny Van Horn. And we have Jenny Godwin. So, to start this all off, let's go ahead and just start off with the most basic question of all. What is sexism? Don't everyone go at once.
Oh, I believe it's when someone is treated differently due to their gender.
The belief that one gender is dominant over the other, better than the other.
Yes.
I had to turn my phone off so I can't Google.
I looked it up before we started to make sure it wasn't on. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got that basically out of the way.
Covered it.
So now that every other guy has spoken, let's ask the woman what she thinks sexism is.
I think that sexism is the man holding you down. No.
Okay, when you say the man, are you talking about the man or the man?
The men.
The men. Okay, the men.
The
Holding
men.
down sexually.
Yes.
Okay.
That's sexism.
Yes.
So that raises a good thing that we can get this started off with. A lot of people that think that sexism is all about men being shitty to women. So since it's mostly guys here, let's get this going. And let's ask the guys, have y'all ever experienced sexism?
Not that I would ever admit. Why would I say that? Why would I ever say I've been a victim of sexism?
Yeah. I don't think I have. I don't know. I've experienced very little inconvenience in my 29 years.
You sort of walk around like a train on
I've
two
experienced
legs,
so little inconvenience that any time I am inconvenienced, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I've never been so inconvenienced in a way for me to be like, well, that was just unfair.
So like when you say inconvenience, I mean like what are you talking about with like the sexism you've experienced?
I don't think I have. I legitimately can't think of one time where I've been like, yeah, if I were a woman, this would be different. Like, there had been one time where I've been like, oh man, if only I were a woman, oh.
Well,
Yeah, I think technically it's possible for a man to be the victim of sexism. That's technically possible. However,
did he say yeah? Nah.
why would you,
Yeah.
like, I think it would take an awful lot of that technically sexism for it to be a situation where I would ever feel comfortable saying something about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, be serious. Like,
Well, it would have to be so blatant and so awful and so completely unfair that you just would have to.
Well,
but even if it is, I mean, like, I feel like even if you found yourself in that position, you wouldn't. It would be pretty shitty to make a point of it. Weird, for instance, in December we're producing a show with Jen Kirkman.
plug.
She wants to do a show with just for women for a variety of reasons, but she wants to do a show just for women.
I can't wait for
I
that.
can't tell you how many times I've answered that question. Look, dude, you don't get to have everything.
Yeah.
I've answered, why don't I get to come? And every time I've answered that
I don't
question,
think any guy has ever actually really asked when do they get to come back.
Yeah.
I think any man that's upset that they don't get to go to the Jen Kirkman show is already a bad person.
Yeah.
Because
They got a lot going on that's bad.
Because at some point, you don't get to, every single person that's raised it as an issue to me has been a well-to-do white male. Yeah,
What?
dude, you don't get to have everything.
Right.
Not everything is.
I'm surprised that you actually know anyone that's well-to-do, actually. So.
That's true.
I didn't know them. They're just complaining.
They're just
Right.
Yeah.
They're just emailing them.
They're not friends.
He's,
Yeah.
he's just who gets the emails for OKC Comedy.
Okay, so that kind of raises an interesting question for me to you guys. So when y'all were talking about trying to define what sexism is and how you can't really quite place how you felt put out. I mean, really, when we think of sexism, we think of things like, spanking a girl on the ass and calling her sugar tits in the office, and that kind of stuff.
That's bad.
But I mean, like, there's obvious sexism.
That's sexism?
Like, you don't actually work in an office, so you've never had to actually talk to HR. So.
I have. First of all, I spent many years in an office.
He's a youth minister.
That's a different kind of office.
Right.
After that, I spent many years in an office, and I did deal with HR on a variety of issues.
Okay.
And I'm still not clear on sexism.
Okay, so, which is kind of what my point is. We really don't know what sexism is for the most part. And with guys, they don't, they're always getting in trouble for being sexist and that kind of stuff. So that kind of raises a question, what really is sexist and sexism? Like Ben, your wife, she does like fitness and stuff like that. So would you really say that when it comes to things like fitness performing and, exercising and things like that, especially in competitively,
Sure.
do you think that women have it more difficult just trying to simply do something like be competitive in athletics and having to look good?
There's
Being
certainly,
sexy.
there's certainly an aspect of female bodybuilding or of fitness where there's a sexual component that maybe is judged more critically than the males are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're talking about opportunity, there's a lot of opportunity for females to do things in the fitness industry of all different levels
Right.
and all different demographics.
You're supposed to be funny when you're saying that kind of stuff.
Sorry.
Okay. So when you're talking about like there's different opportunities and all that kind of stuff, but there is a factor that looks do play into.
Sure.
A good example that I can think of, since most of you guys are wrestling fans, is China. Everybody remembers China.
Yeah.
So
Spelled it with a Y.
right, pronounced the same way.
The 90s.
I'm showing my age here. But we look back at China, and I mean, this is a woman who's built like a fucking rock. I mean, and she can legit wrestle with the guys. And the thing is, everybody gave her shit for her looks. And now you've got professional wrestling women that are much smaller than China was, and they're much sexier. So, really, what do you think's going on there with that? Is it just like a different change in taste, or are they facing the same amount of sexist?
I would counter to say, well, China, the Attitude Era women's wrestler, was very strong. She was not great in the ring. You do have smaller women that are wrestling now who actually have a wrestling background who can actually go in the ring. If you're talking about the current crop of female wrestlers, I think there's focus has actually shifted. China was around when the focus was just on models who they taught how to wrestle, and now the focus is much more on women's wrestlers who've grown up wrestling,
right? So
and can actually go in between the ropes.
It's less of the glow thing and more of actual.
Yeah. Now you have women that can actually get in there and wrestle.
Okay.
I think too. I think it's a really cool thing to watch because I think it's evolved quickly. It's been because like you said, in the '90s in professional wrestling, it was a lot of models who they taught to wrestle sort of on the outside. It was ancillary to what they were there to do. And now it's serious wrestling. These are serious athletes doing the same thing that the guys are doing, and getting just as popular. It's only a matter of time before a ladies match headlines you know, a big pay-per-view or a WrestleMania or
Okay.
whatever. Or they just did.
Oh, ladies' matches never headline?
Never WrestleMania.
I haven't been in the wrestling.
Only once on a
Me
pay-per-view.
Only once on pay-per-view, and that was within like the last year.
And that was last
But
year.
you look at the shift was, you know, it used to be John Laurinaitis running the women's talent scouting and recruiting, and now it's shifted over to Sarah D'Amato, an actual woman who's very talented in the ropes. So, I mean, that shift, you can kind of view where leadership shifted and then the whole concept did.
But if you're interested, you should do some reading about what they call the Divas Revolution, but now it's the Women's Revolution. But I mean, just over the course of about 3 years, it evolved quickly and became extraordinarily popular to the point that on the WWE network they just produced an 8-hour women's tournament.
Total.
Oh,
That was really fun.
I haven't watched wrestling since the 90s, so the last thing I remember about wrestling is...
I
Boobs.
only got
Do
it.
they still
Yeah,
all
pretty
have
much
big
boobs, yeah.
tits?
No.
Wow.
We're working with
That's
all
progress.
variety of tits now.
That
we got
really is progress.
we got a
Running the
kid
gamut.
scale.
Yeah,
Nice.
running the gamut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
beautiful.
really, we told you to silence the phones
I
earlier.
did. This must be an alarm.
Wow.
What have you
This,
done?
this is normally when she wakes up.
Right, yeah.
Right now.
This
Yeah,
is-
I'm on 3 rock stars and 2 Adderall
Let's
right
point
now.
out that
This is
this is
when I
a
put my
girl
toe
who doesn't
medicine
know how
on.
to use her phone.
Right. And mind you, this is the first time that she's really spoken up the whole time.
I
That's why the alarm went off.
I never.
Her husband put an alarm on her phone so she gets too mouthy.
Right. Quit living off, woman.
Shush, shush.
That's what that alarm is for. It's to
So-
remind me. He doesn't speak. He just.
So, one thing that I kind of view with sexism personally is that everyone here on the panel knows, and now everybody at home is going to know because I have to get this out of the way, is that I'm transgendered myself.
Bullshit.
Really. You've seen my dick. No, seriously. It was the last of those competition. We were both drunk, and
Wait,
I
what?
challenged them.
I don't remember this at all.
But you were pretty plastered.
Good.
You were drinking liquor that Cameron Buckholtz was giving you, so
Good.
it's probably moonshine or either a match shot, one of the two.
It's mellow corn.
It's not.
It's mellow typically.
Definitely.
So the thing I've noticed is, just for a simple example, I've had more than one flat tire in my life, and I have
Like an actual flat tire, or is this like a symbolism thing?
an actual flat
All
tire.
right.
That's
Good.
what
No, they have pills for that now, by the way.
Okay.
But I've had flat tires before, and as a guy, flat tire, nobody gives a shit. You're out there in the parking lot pouring down rain. Nobody gives a shit that you got a flat tire. Last time I had a flat tire, I was going down 35, and it went flat right next to Crossroads Mall.
Great.
Yes, at night.
That's always a
On a
good
Friday.
place to be.
It's Plaza Mayor now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yes.
closing in a week.
It's
Yeah.
closing.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wait,
yeah.
closing.
Yeah, in a week.
Completely
it's-
closing.
We're going to get off
That's-
that.
that's-
Yeah, no, we're totally getting off topic here.
But I live in the area. I know what you mean.
But yeah.
Devastating.
So flat tire, I'm out there changing it 4 times. In the Burger King parking lot, I get asked if they can help me change a tire. 4 guys watching other guys asking me if they can help me change my tire, come up and ask me if they can help me change a tire. So that kind of raises the question to me that a lot of guys don't realize the kind of sexism that they experience. And so, do you really think that guys really don't experience sexism in a lot of ways? Brad has his hand up.
I have 2 things. Number 1, who cares? Like, who cares? I don't want some dude helping me change my tire. Keep going.
You can put your hand down.
Keep driving. And where's the rest of the story about Josh Lathy seeing your dick? What?
Guys, I don't
That
remember
just
it.
came up and went away, and nobody. What are the circumstances? How does that happen?
I think it goes back.
We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post.
It goes back to Brad Chad's point earlier, though. It's like it takes something really. You feel kind of stupid complaining about a situation.
Okay.
You know,
So that
Like, I don't
brings
even like women holding the door for me. It bothers me. So I wouldn't want anybody to stop and help.
really.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's sexism. I don't think that's sexism. I think
It's like, is this the tip of the iceberg for me? A tire, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like there may be some sexism involved in me assuming that a lady pulled over can't change her own tire.
Yes.
Like, I feel like there might be some sexism there, possibly.
Yeah,
But assuming that I can does not come off as sexism to me.
I don't stop for anybody. I don't stop for women with flat tires, men with flat tires.
That's why
Self-respect.
I'm not stopping
I
up
get it.
anybody. My kids are in the car. I can't stop. I can't risk
Right.
some maniac on
I
the side
have
of
a
the road.
gray area for that kind of thing because the last time I had a flat tire, and it's not that I can't change a flat tire, but I sure don't want to.
Right.
But the last time I had a flat tire, a team of Navy SEALs dropped out of the sky and just fixed it. Like, it was seriously like a team of men from surrounding parking lots, as if they had like a horn that they blow and they all can do it. And I was like,
Shofar of sexism.
I was like, yeah, I have a tire tool. Here's a jack, guys. Get after it. So they changed. I don't know who they were. I didn't thank them.
I'll tell you what. If I'm
But-
driving by and there's a dude or a lady and they look like they're struggling, I would probably stop and help fix the
Yeah.
tire. I mean,
If I'm by myself, I stop and
I
help people quite often.
I
If
stop
I
and
have my
help.
children in the car, I don't.
I don't,
Right.
No, I
I don't care what you look like. Or
No.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, just the other day, my alternator died downtown, Bricktown. I went down there for a voiceover job. My alternator died. 2 different guys helped me push my truck into a parking spot so that I could go do the job
And
and
then deal with it later.
and then deal with it later. Right. So in that case, yes, please help me because I'm stuck in the street.
Yeah.
Um,
You're doing something you can't do alone.
doing something I can't do alone, but I can't back up the car and put it in a parallel park it all by myself.
But oh yes, Lenny.
Listening to her just now, it just kind of made me think of something weird. The way she described that, it's almost like she was saying, yes, there's sexism in this situation, but I like to use it
But
to
I-
my
Yes,
advantage.
I will take advantage of sexism to a point. I will because I'm lazy and. But I still, a few weeks after that, one of my headlights went out. I know exactly how to change my headlight. I've done it many times. And I was talking to a friend of mine, a man, on the phone, and I said, I have to go change my headlight. And he said, oh, it's real easy. All you have to do. And I said, I know how to do it. And he said, all you have to do is pull it off,
Yeah.
pull out the bulb, make sure you get the right bulb, not the low beam, get the high beam bulb. Ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, as I said, I am aware of how to do it. And then I went to my dad's house to change it because I was in his neighborhood. And my dad came out and said, I'll hold the light for you. And then took all the tools out of my hands and changed the light. I did not appreciate that sexism.
That feels less like sexism though. Like my dad does that to me too.
Well, I think
And it's
dads
not-
will
Yeah,
do that.
it's dadism.
Yeah, my dad is
That
like,
is
hey,
dad.
just make sure that when you here, let me. I got it.
It's like,
4 minutes later,
That's just
I'm
dad.
inside
Yeah.
watching TV. Where'd I go?
I held the light.
Because as a parent, it's hard to watch your child do something wrong.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can easily just
Right.
Or even right.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Or
was
even right, but not in the right order.
Right.
All right, so we've got parents here, so that's a good way to shift the topic. So,
I don't help my son with shit.
yeah, right.
Yeah, my girls, I do everything for.
So, guys have all had to deal with that first date that they've gone over to go pick up the girl, and they get the lecture from dad. You know, that whole, you hurt my daughter, I'm going to have to whoop your ass. I've actually had them show me the shotgun shell that they would shoot me with. So,
None of my dates had like dads.
Dad's
well, that's because you mostly date out of the trailer park.
I grew up in the ghetto.
That's why
I
you did
definitely
you.
grew up.
Right.
I grew up in
Crossroads Mall?
a very in that area,
Yeah.
close by,
Yeah.
very non-affluent neighborhood.
Yeah.
I had a dad pull the whole cleaning his gun thing one time, and I've been a pretty, he was cleaning his gun, and I was like, oh, what are you gonna shoot me with it? And he was like, maybe, and I was like, well, it's premeditated. That's 3rd degree. I was like, that's your call. I was like, you're not gonna shoot me. That's the first thing. I didn't even say hi.
You know, it'd be
I was like, oh, you're gonna try to shoot me?
We'll be right back in just a second.
Oh, say, Can you see? That's what they want us to believe in so blindly. But we got to take a stance and start talking about the truth and the facts. So, let's chat. Race Talks with Tanya. Race Talks with Tanya. Yeah, Race Talks with Tanya.
Sorry, we had to take a break real quick. Jenny had to go make sandwiches.
They weren't very good sandwiches, to be fair.
So we were talking about the dad doing the whole show you the shotgun kind of thing, the whole threat to beat your ass. Which kind of raises another question I want to bring up. With guys, a lot of guys, when they're being sexist, it's usually about like stuff that's been going on lately with like in the tech sector, how women can't program. They're not good at computers. Being ex-military myself, I had to deal with a lot of guys that always thought that women didn't make good soldiers and that kind of stuff. So, really, have you ever really had to deal with some guy, I mean, that was being sexist, that was around you, that you had to kind of call him out on his shit? And how did you do it? And really, just generally, how do you guys react to sexism? Because y'all seem decently woke, kind of woke-ish, you know. But, so yeah, how have y'all dealt?
That is so off-brand for me. I need you to back that up.
Yeah. I just tell my dad to quit drinking.
It fits.
I found myself, especially, like, I was one of those idiots. I was one of those liberal idiots sitting at home on election night going, what the fuck happened? Like, no idea that it was even a possibility that something like that could happen. And I think I'm pretty insulated. I don't mean to be, but I live in an echo chamber. I don't really, even people that I disagree with, like Ben Flint and I aren't politically very, we have conversations about politics that are like, the difference of degrees, not a difference of like
right. Complete ideology.
Yeah, there's not like men and women are.
Well, you think women are garbage, and I think they're okay.
Right.
You think they're trash, you think they're just alright.
We probably should find
You
somebody.
think they're disposable, and I keep them around longer.
So we probably should find somebody that's women positive.
Right.
But I don't know. It doesn't come up for me a ton. Like, there's not a lot of, those people have sort of. Here's what I found. Since the election, I didn't ever say anything political on Facebook until the night of the election, and then it just was a torrent of bile and vitriol, and I lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 850 Facebook friends.
Wow.
from the election till now, and so I lived a kind of existence where I didn't talk about it, and then when I started talking about like issues of equality and those sorts of things, people just sort of took themselves out of the conversation.
Right, yeah.
I didn't block anybody. Like, everybody blocked me. So I don't really know, I don't know that it comes up for me a ton.
So are you trying to tell us an easy way to get rid of like 800 people on our Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just watch one of your stand-up shows.
And you use terms like dummy. You don't be like offensive. Don't be like, you fucking morons. You just say like, hey, you dummies who voted for this guy.
Yeah, people don't like being called dummies.
Woo!
Yeah.
They don't.
Ooh, I get hot. I
Are
get
these
under the
mostly
skin.
people from your hometown, or are these?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think
That puts it into some context.
It's hard to tell because Facebook doesn't tell you who you lose. You just start seeing them. You just start seeing them showing up in that like. Here's some people you might know.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck! I thought we were okay. All right, we get a lot of these.
Forever.
But they were like, I think from each phase of my life, you collect Facebook friends from like.
Yeah.
From high school and then college and then the first job you have this.
They didn't have Facebook when you were in high school.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Dude,
You're like maybe 5 years younger than us. Shut up.
Don't be like that. But yeah, I think I lost a chunk of people from like each Yeah. Like each sort of phase of my life.
Well,
Right.
just a percentage. There's a percentage.
Somewhere in the
Right.
neighborhood of
It's
35%.
It usually.
Yeah, there's always that group. There's always that one group of people that are always just the complete dicks. I mean, it's sort of like when you've seen like these neo-Nazi rallies lately, and everybody's all panicked, like, oh my God, the Nazis are everywhere. Then you actually see the neo-Nazi rally, and it's like you've had orgies that were bigger,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Right.
So it's always like that smaller group that's just really so
Yeah.
much louder and just make everything so much worse, kind of thing.
But also all of that to say, I don't find it. It doesn't. I mean, I would have to seek it out.
Yeah, I don't encounter a whole lot of men who are just being blatantly sexist in public. I mean, I don't.
Right. But that whole like,
You see small things.
yeah.
And you can identify
But
small
there's
things.
the little sexisms.
Well, I mean, like Jenny and I just called ourselves out on it when we were on our break, talking about pocket knives for our kids and how.
I bought my son a pocket knife, and my daughter, who's much older, said, "Where's my pocket knife?"
Right.
And I said, "I'll get you a pink one."
And my daughter's 8, she's asking when she can have a pocket knife, and in my head I'm thinking 10, and then right after that I thought, but my son will probably give him one at
Right.
8.
I work
Right.
as a doorman sometimes at JJ's, and I think
You are the least intimidating bouncer I've ever met.
I've also been a
Adorable.
bouncer, so why don't you go ahead and make him number 2?
It's not that
I'm
More like
good
an
at
adorable
talking,
man.
and I've only had to throw like 2 people out since I've been doing it
Right.
a year.
I mean, the both of you, it's not so mean. Have an imposing presence.
The
It's
dude
just-
grabbed my armpits, and it really pissed me off.
Yeah,
But,
What?
yeah, I don't know. He's drunk and like stuck his hand under my arm. So
That's so weird.
That was
That's a weird way to go.
It's the baby phase. It's trying to pick you up
Yeah.
and shit. But yeah, I've been a bouncer too, but it was at a gay bar, which honestly is the easiest fucking job in the world because gay guys don't actually fight. They just have really intense glare-offs and shit.
glare.
And then that and the fact that no straight dude ever wants to have to call his buddies to bail him out from jail after having to explain he got his ass whooped by a drag queen at a gay bar. So,
Exactly. But what I noticed as being a doorman is women bartenders
mhm.
experience some of the
Oh yeah.
worst
yeah.
sexism.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
really do.
And
Yeah.
I've talked to them about it, like, buddy, and to some degree they're like, yeah, it's annoying, but as long as they keep putting dollars
Mhm.
Yeah.
in my
That
tip
kind of,
jar.
and that kind of
so-
goes back to what Jenny was talking about, kind of exploiting that sexism just a
Yeah.
little bit. Which,
Yeah.
there are some guys out there that get really cranky about it, but they actually kind of really like it. I mean, Coyote Ugly is wholly, entirely themed about guys being played into with their, kind of sexist trope of girls dancing on the bar and being rowdy and shit like that.
Sure.
Because, I mean, God knows, I have done it, I'm sure you've done it, where you've walked around the bar and got guys to buy you drinks all
I did a
night, and you're not
contest.
sleeping with a single one of them.
I did a contest with my friend on her 21st birthday where we had a contest to see how much beer we could get bought for us. I won. I got $48 worth of beer bought for me without making any commitment to anyone in this bar. She got, I think, something in the realm of like $36. It was the Red Dog.
Mhm.
It's in $6 increments because we were going for pitchers, not
Yeah, go for
bottles.
it.
We need
If you're doing this, you go for the top shelf
and,
shit. Yeah.
and we eventually were chased by some of these men. We didn't do
Mhm.
anything. We just talked to them for a minute, and they said, "Let us buy you some beer."
Mhm.
They bought us the beer. We pieced out. They chased us. We had to run upstairs into the Red Dog dressing room so that security would stop us.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Because now they've bought shit. Now they've bought shit for you.
So
They
it's
bought
like,
us things. They were drunk at the end of the night,
Mhm.
and they weren't
Red
going
Dog is
home
wild, fam.
alone.
mhm.
It does.
I will say this. I think maybe directly in opposition to what I said a minute ago. We have had it so that I have to think about it in the context of being a booker, but we booked some people with rancorous, horrible opinions about things. I booked Doug Stanhope, who has aggressively bad opinions about
Yes.
a lot of things. Like
Yeah.
he's against mothers against drunk driving. Like
Yeah.
he's against also America and pie and mothers. Like he's just, he's got aggressively bad opinions. But we promoted those shows, put ads out for those shows, never heard a word about any of that. We booked Janine Garofalo, and I was on that Facebook ad every 2 hours, deleting comments like liberal cunt. Just every 2 hours, I was just on it all the time, deleting comments and blocking people and stuff from art.
So that kind of
so it does. I'm like, there is no difference between like these are objectively.
That's blatant sexism.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right, and it only has happened with 2 performers, and they were both female.
Yeah.
Like it's always
Sort of like-
only been Jen Kirkman and Janine Garofalo, and they are outspoken people, and they do have bold opinions.
They really don't though.
Yeah, so
They
that
just have regular ass opinions, only they have tits too.
right. So that raises another good
that.
topic and kind of brings all of us in on this. Women in comedy.
Yeah.
So guys in comedy, you know, there's like not a lot of expectations with them other than to be funny. With women in comedy have always reported that they've been harassed by the other comedians.
I think that depends on how pretty you are.
Right. Yeah.
I feel pretty comfortable.
I think we're both thinking of the same guy here.
I mean, I asked you to leave. I just didn't want you around.
Right.
It's not really harassing.
But I mean, like, I think me and Ginny are like the only 2 female comedians around that have not been hit on by one particular guy. I think we can all think of his name. So
I've been hit on a few times, just a few times, and I've had seriously 3 encounters doing comedy that I really was uncomfortable with, to where in one of them I had to actually hit someone, and I don't do that. I was like, I don't fight with people
You had to
anymore.
fight out of a corner.
I had to fight out of a bathroom
Wow.
at McSalty's. I got shoved into the bathroom and the doorway blocked, and it was like by a very outspoken feminist man.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. And it was really, really uncomfortable. That was the most uncomfortable I've ever been. Otherwise, if I get in a car alone with you, know that you've been through the biggest litmus test in my head ever.
But like with women comedians, where you've had to deal with like Jen Kirkman and Janine Garofalo, with them having like outspoken opinions, and just women comedians in general. You know, a lot of people complain with women comedians that, you know, like, why do they always got to talk about being a woman? Why does their material always have to be about them being a woman? But nobody ever complains about
Dick jokes.
Yeah, dick jokes. Why, you know, straight guys telling straight guy jokes about being straight guys. I mean, come on. I mean, there has to be something going on there.
I think it would be difficult to be anything other than a straight white male in comedy, because you don't ever want to be. You have this extra thing to worry about, where you're like, I don't want to be the trans comedian. I don't want to be the gay comic. I don't want to be the female comic. But really, you don't really have that choice. There are some things that, like, I think the whole idea of stand-up comedy is seeing somebody else's perspective on the world we all share. So you talk about things that we all deal with, but from the perspective of who you are. And the better you are at stand-up comedy, the more the audience gets to see things through your perspective as a gay person, or as a transgender person, or as a black guy, or a Indian woman,
It's
or
okay,
whatever.
there's not a black guy or an Indian woman here, so you don't have to actually kiss them.
No, I mean, but what I'm saying is, like, you know, that's sort of success in comedy. And I just get to go over there and be like, everybody gets what I'm saying, right? Like, we all understand the world my way, because every film that's ever been made has been told from this
I
point of
made a
view.
conscious decision to cut everything in my stand-up about sex, vaginas, tits, anything that had to do with my sex, I cut out of my stand-up a couple years ago on purpose, because I was like, I'm so sick of people being like, all you guys ever talk about is being a girl, you talk about your period, you're gonna talk about your pussy. Yeah, you know what? No, never
Yeah.
mind, I won't. Fuck off.
But
Vin,
see,
you were-
I'll talk about other shit, and I don't have to talk about that to be funny. So, or to get attention either, because a lot of the time they'll say, "Oh, you only say that stuff to get attention." Okay.
Yeah. You're
I
right.
I was just gonna say that when you entered the subject, talk about like there's comics get criticized for talking about being female.
Mhm.
Why don't male comics get the same thing for doing? I'll say this. I think female comics do talk about being female
Mhm.
more than comics talk about being male. I don't think we talk about being male. I think we just talk about life.
Well, exactly. We're just
But-
talking
but
about
there-
life from a female perspective.
Right, but there is a talking about being female that came out of the 80s with Paula Poundstone, with a lot of that about, and there was a lot of talk about periods and stupid boyfriends and stuff
Right.
like that. So I think there's a lot of that carryover into now. That's a lot of that same thinking. But I don't know that male comics talk about being male.
Right.
But I think female comics do talk a lot about being female. I think it's fine,
Mhm.
but I do think they do talk about their gender more than
Right.
male comics do.
Well,
I don't start any bit saying,
Ooh, now
hey, I have a
we're getting to the
penis.
contentious part.
It's just my perspective on the world. It's not
Mhm.
predicated upon
Right.
my gender.
right.
I think females
But I
do.
think that's a perception. See, I think that's a perception because I think if I start talking about the world, the way I experience the world, I do so as a male.
Sure.
And
Right.
you identify because you're a straight white male. The same
So you
way.
don't notice.
And you don't notice how much of what I'm saying is colored by what I am.
Right.
But when the thing that someone is on stage is different from you, you notice every time a vagina is mentioned. Every
Mhm.
time, like,
Yeah, 'cause-
it stands out because it's different from what you
Yeah,
are.
and then this is very kind of lefty social justice warrior kind of stuff, but
Sure.
it's the default voice in this world really is kind of the white straight male.
Sure.
Sure.
It's the default voice.
Sure.
So yeah, I think for a gay comedian or a black comedian, woman comedian, that kind of stuff, it really does. You do notice when they do talk about themselves in a way that kind of really calls out their separate identity, because the world of comedy, the world of entertainment, period, is dominated by the male voice. And that's not because it's mostly because that's the way it's been for hundreds of years, and things are changing. And I think that there are guys out there who do get cranky about it because they don't want to lose their control and dominance in that, and so they get a little bit cranky about it, like when they called out Janine Garofalo and
Right.
and all that.
I don't think it's even conscious. Fear.
Right.
Well, think about it like this. Think about it like this. Go through your act. Somebody had me do this, and it was the most instructive thing in the world. Go through your act, and then and the way you say the things that you say, and then take out everything that a gay person would never say, or take out everything in your act that a woman would never say. And then think to yourself, every time you get to one of those spots is a time a woman would go, he's talking about his dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's talking about being a dude. Or a gay person would go, he's talking about being a straight.
I took out everything
Mhm.
that a man would never say from my act.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago.
See, that's crazy. Because
Because you would
everybody
never
likes
do
to
that.
everybody likes to pile on to Amy Schumer, but thank God somebody's out there going, no, goddamn it, I'm gonna talk about my twat.
Amy
Right.
Schumer is
Every night.
exactly why
Right.
I did it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, y'all remember when
She
I
doesn't
first started,
care how many times she gets shit on. She's
Yeah,
gonna keep
zero
doing
shot.
what she does.
and
Zero.
y'all remember when I first started off, my entire act was about being transgender,
Right.
and I got sick of it because I'm more than that. Although it's really fucking good material, but I really did get sick of it because I'm more than that. And still when I go back and try to do other types of comedy, it doesn't always quite land that well, because I've learned quite often that you don't expect a woman to make those kinds of jokes. That's why with like certain comedians like Sarah Silverman, that's part of Sarah Silverman's gimmick, is that she's this cutesy, kind of girly type comedian who is really filthy,
Yeah.
you know? So I think that largely, when you deal with male and female comedy and stuff like that, you have a situation where we still have the roles that we're and we get all the time, and we're kind of built in with society, and then we get uncomfortable when it really kind of gets put in our face. Even though you try to be open-minded, it still kind of pushes you back a little bit. So, all right, I think that's all that we have time for tonight. We're going to start wrapping this up here now. I just want to give a quick shout out to all of my sponsors. Yamaha, what don't we make? And Ford, I've done what you've asked. Now please, release my family. So today we've talked about sexism today, and you're not Josh. Where'd Josh go?
I had to take care of Josh.
You had to take care of Josh?
It's getting a little mouthy.
Getting a little mouthy. Well, yeah, I think probably his wife called, and he is pussy whipped. So.
I thought he had some Olive Garden that wasn't sitting right with him.
Maybe
Doesn't set right with anyone.
We have to go buy more hats and glasses.
Drew Carey look-alike contest. So today we talked about sexism, and obviously we didn't settle a goddamn thing. And that's kind of the problem here. I think that sexism, it's like herpes. It's not going to go away. No matter how much you're going to hide it, no matter how much it's going to change on you, it might go away for a little bit, but it's always going to come back. In which is just really kind of an uncomfortable comparison, I think. But yeah, I did. I was really forced. Really forced. But overall, here's my take on what sexism is. Sexism overall is just an assumption of stereotypes and expectations. Guys are expected to be tough and macho and not cry. Which really, guys, don't cry. It's not sexy at all. We may say we want a sensitive guy, we don't. And women are expected to be soft and cutesy, and flowery, and be soft and gentle. And they're not, because I have spent my time around a lot of Black and Latino women, and if you ever make them mad, they are going to fucking kill you. Really, seriously, there's no. Now that Trump has smarted off the mayor of San Juan, he's gonna murder. But overall, we have stereotypes and we have expectations. Guys are still expecting women to be what women are, and guys expect women to play their part, be accommodating to what guys want. And women are at the point now where we're starting to push back. Women are starting to say, no, we can do these things. No, we don't want to do these things. And we're trying to assert ourselves, and guys are at the point where, for the most part, I think they're going to be okay with it. They're going to be uncomfortable because things are changing, and nobody likes change. But you're always going to have that one group of guys that's just going to take it way too damn far. They're always going to complain that, for example, for me, guys have told me that I can't see you as a woman because you don't wear skirts and dresses. Which, honestly, have you ever actually met a woman before? But
we just had a discussion about how strange it would be to see me in a skirt.
Right.
And I've always been a woman.
Yeah. Now, I've always wanted to see Lenny in a dress, but mostly that's because I kind of see you as kind of like Bugs Bunny in the regard that it kind of would
Back in my musician days, you could have seen that.
Yeah, it's just
With oranges in the bra.
Really oranges.
Yeah.
Water balloons work so much better.
Oh, water balloons are so much
Water
better.
balloons are, if they're going to go for the feel, birdseed. This is what you learn when you hang out with drag queens. But overall, I think that sexism is an issue that's not going to get resolved anytime soon. And honestly, it's going to end up getting worse the more that women assert themselves and the more that guys actually want to get away from the stereotypes of what guys are supposed to be.
I think progress of any kind has fits and starts. It's about stops and starts. I mean, it's not a smooth transition from we're all fucked up till we got to figure it out.
It's called growing pains, not growing joy.
Right.
It's always painful.
Right. And I mean, coming from my perspective, there's always going to be that latency there, where you just have the expectations of what a guy is supposed to be and what a girl is supposed to be, and the way that we're supposed to go about in this world. And let's face it, you know, they're always going to have men's jeans and women's jeans because, you know,
Because women don't deserve pockets.
right. When I transitioned, my feminist struggle became pockets. So seriously, you have no idea.
We can't get started on pockets. We'll be here for the rest of the day.
Right. So I think that's all we have for time for today. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to You Can't Say That, and look for us in the future.
Forgot the plugs.
Oh yeah, we got plugs. Anybody want to plug anything?
No.
No.
Check me out at okccomedy.com for tickets to stuff.
OKCComedy.com. They host shows all over the city with all sorts of different comics, especially like Jen Kirkman. Ben, what about you?
October 14th, I'll be in Tulsa doing a benefit show for the Shriners. And October 28th, I'll be in
Shriners?
Dewey.
Shriners are still a thing?
Shriners are still a thing.
Holy shit.
They hate women though, so we're going.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, that's
Full
perfect.
circle.
Yeah.
Lenny, any plugs, anything you want to say?
I like check out Brad's website
He's still not going to book you.
and buy tickets to the semifinals. I don't know if you guys have sent me an email yet on the date, but I know it's like Thursday or Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, I'll hook you up.
So it'll be Wednesday or Thursday. All
And
right.
Jimmy.
I have nothing booked right now because I'm a woman. And nobody books. No, I just have been being lazy lately, so I don't have anything booked right now. But you can always find me on Facebook, Jenny Godwin, or follow me on Twitter at The Generator.
If there's a contest that involves money or something, Jenny will drop whatever.
If there's
she's-
money
Right.
involved, it doesn't have to be a contest.
I'm not saying she's a gold digger.
Yeah. She'd be like, these
If
kids
anyone
can watch
mentions
themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to this thing.
It doesn't have to be much. $10. I'll be there.
All right. And I'm your host, Amanda Carey. You can catch me writing for advocate.com and thegaily.com. And I think that about wraps it up, guys. Thanks for being here. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.